Have you ever looked up at the night sky and felt a sense of wonder? A connection to something ancient and vast? Long before telescopes, GPS, and space probes, our ancestors were doing the exact same thing. But they weren't just stargazing. They were mapping the heavens with incredible precision, creating the very foundations of astronomy. Today, we're going on a journey back in time to uncover how ancient civilizations charted the cosmos without telescopes. Imagine you're an ancient farmer. Your life, your crops, your very survival depends on the seasons. How do you know when to plant, when to harvest? You look to the sky, the sun's path, the phases of the moon, the appearance and disappearance of certain stars. These were nature's calendar. The sky wasn't just beautiful. It was a practical guide for life on Earth. This fundamental need was the spark that ignited the flame of ancient astronomy. Let's start in ancient Egypt, more than 5,000 years ago. The Egyptians were masters of observation. Their entire civilization was built around the Nile River, which flooded predictably every year, bringing fertile soil. They noticed that this annual flood coincided with the reappearance of a particularly bright star in the morning sky just before sunrise. That star was Sirius, or, as they called it, this discovery was so important that they based their entire calendar on Ida, 365-day calendar that is astonishingly close to our own. They aligned their magnificent pyramids and temples with celestial bodies like the North Star, using simple but ingenious tools like plumb lines and sighting rods to achieve incredible accuracy. For the Egyptians, the cosmos was a divine clock, and they learned to read it perfectly. Now, let's travel to Mesopotamia, the land between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. Here, the Babylonians took celestial observation to a whole new level. For over 1,000 years, they kept meticulous records of celestial events on clay tablets. We're talking about detailed logs of planetary movements, lunar eclipses, and the paths of constellations. They weren't just recording what they saw. They were looking for patterns, and they found them. The Babylonians were the first to recognize that celestial events were cyclical and predictable. They could predict lunar and solar eclipses with remarkable accuracy. They developed the zodiac, the 12 constellations that the sun appears to pass through during the Uranus system we still recognize today. Their approach was highly mathematical. They used sophisticated arithmetic to model planetary movements, laying the groundwork for what would eventually become scientific astronomy. They were the original data scientists of the cosmos. Across the globe, in the Americas, ancient civilizations were also developing their own unique understanding of the sky. The Maya, in particular, were brilliant astronomers. Their understanding of time and celestial cycles was incredibly advanced. They created calendars of staggering complexity and accuracy. The famous Mayan long count calendar, for instance, tracked time over thousands of years. They built observatories, like the Caracal at Chichen Itza, specifically designed to track the movements of Venus, the sun, and the moon. For the Maya, Venus was especially important, linked to their gods and warfare. They calculated its cycle to time it takes to reappear in the same spot in the sky as 584 days. The modern value is 583.92. An almost unbelievable level of precision achieved with naked eye observation alone. So how did they do it? Without glass, lenses, or mirrors, they turned their world into an observatory. They used simple, yet brilliant, tools. A gnomon, which is essentially a stick in the ground, could be used to track the sun's path and determine the solstices and equinoxes by measuring the length of its shadow. Crossstaffs and quadrants were used to measure the angles between stars. They used reflective surfaces like a calm pool of water to observe celestial bodies without straining their necks. And perhaps their most powerful tool was something we still have today: patience. Generations of skywatchers passed down their knowledge, building a library of celestial data over centuries. But it wasn't just about science and calendars. For these cultures, the sky was deeply intertwined with mythology, religion, and power. The constellations told stories of gods and heroes. Eclipses were seen as powerful omens. The ability to predict these events was a source of immense authority for priests and rulers. The cosmos was a living, breathing entity, a divine stage where the stories of humanity unfolded. This blend of the spiritual and the scientific is what makes ancient astronomy so fascinating. It was a holistic worldview where heaven and earth were reflections of each other. Even seemingly simple stone structures hold astronomical secrets. Think of Stonehenge in England. For years, its purpose was a mystery. But we now know it's a sophisticated astronomical observatory. The massive stones are aligned to frame the sunrise on the summer solstice and the sunset on the winter solstice. It was a monumental calendar built of stone, a place where an entire community could gather to mark the turning of the seasons. Similar structures exist all over the world, from the medicine wheels of North America to the stone circles of Africa, all testifying to a universal human desire to connect with the cosmos. The legacy of these ancient skywatchers is all around us. The 365 days in our year. Thank the Egyptians. The 60 minutes in an hour and 60 seconds in a minute. That comes from the Babylonians' base 60 counting system. The names of our planets and many constellations. They echo the myths of ancient Greece and Rome, who inherited much of their astronomical knowledge from the Babylonians and Egyptians. These ancient observers laid the foundation upon which giants like Copernicus, Kepler, and Galileo would later build the scientific revolution. They proved that with curiosity, patience, and ingenuity, humanity could begin to understand its place in the universe, long before we had the technology to leave our own planet. So, the next time you look up at the stars, take a moment. Remember that you are part of a timeless tradition, a chain of curiosity stretching back thousands of years. You are seeing the same stars that our ancestors charted, the same moon that guided them, and sharing in the same sense of awe and wonder. The story of astronomy is the story of us, of our enduring quest to look up and understand. Thanks so much for joining me on this cosmic journey today. If you found this as fascinating as I do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more adventures into history and science. Let me know in the comments which ancient civilization's astronomy impresses you the most. Until next time, keep looking up.